Nigga kill over a bitch but let a rat keep his wife.
Vlad. What? Vlad!
Yeah, what's good?
I'm on stream, brother. You're the topic of conversation.
Yeah, you think?
Vlad, what's going on?
Man, look, if you look at like my previous tweets, I was talking about how ridiculous the whole news cycle was because they were bringing back this old video from May of Kelsey's bodyguard saying that she really was the shooter, and people like, oh, look, the evidence is in. And I'm like, this is a tweet from May. And he wasn't even the bodyguard that night. He was the bodyguard who claims he overheard something during the court proceedings, whatever. And people are like, oh, that's because Jay-Z, he bought off all the jurors. I said, okay, that's an interesting idea for a tweet. So I created this whole ridiculous tweet with every conspiracy theory laid out one after the other, to the point of even saying that Jay-Z did a verse for the judge's grandson.
Yeah, that was reaching, of course.
Do you think that was reaching?
Well, hey, listen, I knew this was a satirical tweet from the get-go. I was just speaking about the tweet on stream here. And by the way, Vlad, I'm telling you, you fucked the hip-hop game up with this. Usually I get about 15,000 people watching me. I have 31,000 right now listening to me. Just let you know, okay? And it's all because of you. So we got to get down to some hard facts. Now,
okay.
I'll tell you two issues. And by the way, I've also said me and you, we trade podcast appearances. I get on Vladtv, you come on my show. Our next podcast has to be solely about this because there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. Now, I had two issues, and you could, we'll get into real depth, like I guess when we sit with each other. But my two issues was this: I think you sent and fired off this tweet because you slightly have an axe to grind still about Tory. Not that you have a problem with him, but people were skeptical of you of when you predicted an outcome, this and third. And I thought you putting up this tweet made an incident so big. Now it's like really kicking his back in for someone who is going through, like, he's incarcerated. It's not like you actually think he did it and he's free. He's incarcerated. He's trying to fight for his freedom or at least some type of relief. And I feel like this is kicking a man when he's down. Okay. Second,
hold on. Can I address the first one, or do you want to tell me?
No. Go ahead.
Okay. Tory has been convicted by a jury of 12 people and has been sentenced. He filed an appeal and it was rejected. Now you could say I'm kicking him while he's down or whatever. He has gone through the legal process and it didn't work out, which is what I've been saying the whole time. I don't have an axe to pick with Tory. I don't know him. We've never spoken. I ran into his dad and we had a respectful conversation. Me and his dad have each other's phone numbers. I said he can come to my show at any point. Tory can come do Vladtv if he wants to call in or whatever else. I publicly said I feel really bad over what happened with him over the stabbing incident. But it's just like this constant cycle of like, oh, it was really someone else. He never did it. He's the, Rock Nation manipulated everyone. It's just like a ridiculous theory. In the same way that I've been talking about the Nicki Minaj's of the world and so forth, this is just the same thing. I don't have an axe to pick with Tory. I hope Tory does come home sooner than expected. I've always said this.
Well, the reason why I say you possibly have an axe to grind, and it appears so, and it feels like kicking him while he's down, because like there has always been a controversial case where not all of the constituents or the citizens in the United States or viewing public agree. Like, for example, with O.J. Simpson. Would you go as far to say anybody who believes that O.J. did it, they're an idiot, or they're just like lunatics? Because that's what this kind of comes across. I feel like there's a particular thing about the Tory thing. Not that I really don't think you have anything against him, but I know you, Vlad. When Vlad gives his opinion and he's right, Vlad loves to be like, I told you so. I think this is a told you so moment. Yet again, just is blown up beyond that because now people are making a lot of other assumptions.
I mean, I guess you want to, you can frame it how you want to frame it. At the end of the day, this got triggered off of Kelsey's bodyguard saying that she was the shooter because you overheard her say it during a conversation. You could check. This whole thing entered the cycle once again. And it was all over like the blogs and everything else like that. And it's like, yo, I don't want Tory to stay in prison. I think he's done his time. He went through a horrific stabbing incident. I hope he comes home early. I have nothing against Tory. He can come do the show. Me and him have had one DM exchange, and that was it. That was it. That's our only interactions. But at the end of the day, this was triggered off of the lunacy coming back into the cycle again. At the end of the day, you know that he filed an appeal and it was struck down, right? But then again, only 2% of appeals ever go through.
Yeah. And again, these are things that the reasonable people who still have doubts, they're not denying. But and so, okay, we get it on that Tory part. But I think the bigger part of even why I think this kind of like it broke through the cycle. It's not that you just had an opinion on Tory. Is that by lumping this idea of, oh, Jay-Z did this, Roc Nation did this, and then basically saying, well, if you believe that, like, come on, like, this is pure sarcasm. There's a lot of really interesting coincidences or real conversation we could have about Roc Nation and Jay-Z. And while you lump it in here, now people are saying, well, all right, we get the Tory part. Like, I do get the Tory part where you're saying, you're putting out some facts. Hey, he was convicted. Hey, the appeal didn't go through. And the video you guys are talking about was a old press conference that referred and referenced a bodyguard that wasn't a bodyguard that night. And also that bodyguard claimed that their proof was that they overheard a conversation while during the trial when they were bodyguard for Kelsey. And she allegedly...
It's all hearsay, right?
Yes.
It's all hearsay. Hearsay is not a reason to let someone out of prison. It's just hearsay. And in a court of law, it holds very little, usually no weight at all.
Okay. But the Jay-Z and Meg Thee Stallion stuff and well, really Roc Nation, that's where I think there's certain things that come into play that becomes a little bit, you know, again, for someone like me, and I try to stick to the facts, but pattern recognition, sometimes it feels a little bit more than coincidental. And I think when you mention Jay and Roc Nation and how they move, I think even when Nicki's talking about them, I don't think Nicki's out there. I think Nicki's actually speaking facts. I'll be honest with you.
Nah, bro. Nicki's unhinged. She's always been unhinged.
Well, I'm not talking about everything she's saying.
Get out of here. Stop it. Me and you talked about her unhinged behavior.
No. I'm not saying about...
No, you can't use Nicki as like the...
I'm not defending
rational thought.
Okay, I'm not defending everything Nicki's ever said about everyone. I'm saying when it comes to the conversation she's had where she's mentioning Desiree Perez, Jay-Z, and Roc Nation, I don't believe those are all just, thoughts of a manic individual that have no either personal experiences with these people to support what she's saying. And here's the thing. The majority of what you've said, I could completely dispute, because even when you say, which obviously you're being facetious, you're saying, well, Roc Nation paid us $10,000 a month, right? Let me ask you a question. You're being facetious, clearly, but do you believe that there's no one in the media, I wouldn't say necessarily getting paid off by Roc Nation, but that has mutually monetary interest that would be in their benefit to defend Roc Nation or Jay-Z?
I think, as you know, not even I think, I know for a fact, and you can agree with me on this, is that once you get into a certain industry, particularly something like music and entertainment, you have relationships, and which often form into friendships with various people. Okay. So when you have relationships with people, then you're going to give them a pass. They're not going to talk bad about them, whatever else. You don't hear me ever talking bad about Boosie, right? People have said certain things about Boosie, and I'm like, nah, I'm not co-signing that. Or I'm not even going to mention
It's a thin line, though, right? Because also, right, it's a very thin line. There's a thin line between friendship and just straight monetary incentive, right? And that's why I'm getting back to the payment, right? Because I think the old school way would be...
So hold on. Me and Boosie, we have a personal relationship, but there's also a monetary incentive for both of us.
Yeah.
To keep things moving, right? I pay him for interviews. I mean, everyone knows this. This is not a secret. I pay him to do interviews, and those interviews are profitable. So we both are mutually dependent on each other. Not dependent on each other, but we work with each other. We both make money with each other. So, yeah, there's a monetary incentive there, right?
Yes, there is.
I'm not being extorted by Boosie. The Boosie mafia is out there killing people and
with all due respect,
buying judges and whatever else.
With all due respect, Boosie's not that powerful. There's about 1,000 things Roc Nation has been either behind, whether directly or indirectly, that pattern becomes, I don't think it's a coincidence anymore. But when it comes to, like, say, payment, right? For example, there's a list of individuals that when Jay-Z was going up to get the casino deal, and he was the front celebrity, the face of the possible multi-billion-dollar deal, and they needed approval of the neighborhood council. He brought on a bunch of hip hop folks to speak on his behalf. Those hip hop folks, some of them are in media. None of them, has ever thought to, either take anything of him being in the media about whatever with any type of seriousness. I don't think that's friendship. I think that's a business opportunity, right? Like, I don't think some of these people, I don't think they're friends with Jay-Z that much. It's just hey, listen, this is a guy who I'm going to make money with. If y'all are trying to bring him down, you're bringing me down. Not going to let it happen. And so that's what I was trying to say. So when you send out that tweet, and
I don't think that's much of a point. Of course, people want to work with someone that they have a potential business future with. Like, this is just normal business. Like, and plus you're talking about something completely different. You're talking about someone stepping forward as a character witness or someone that's dealt with someone before, as opposed to saying that this guy paid a Mexican to stab Tory. Right? So you mean to tell me that Jay is going to put his whole future, his family, and his legacy on the line worse than Bill Cosby, right? Because if it was proven that Jay-Z paid to have a man stabbed up, that's worse than what Bill Cosby did, right? And every Jay-Z, everything will be on the line worse than Bill Cosby, right? Because if it was proven that Jay-Z paid to have a man stabbed up, that's worse than what Bill Cosby did, right? And every Jay-Z, everything will go down, the NFL deal gone, album pulled off the shelves, streaming services done, invited nowhere, NFL deal, forget about it. So you can stab a dude who's already in prison.
As y'all see, and as y'all could hear, we got DJ Akademiks on the phone with Vlad. Vlad, he been trolling. Everybody knew he was trolling. Well, I ain't gonna say everybody, because people took what he was saying on see, I've been saying this. All Vlad did was tweet everything he don't believe. All Vlad did was tweet everything he don't believe. But just because he don't believe it don't mean it ain't true. Is it facts to it? No. But sometimes people know what they know. Like the Tory Lanez situation. We know that he ain't shoot Meg. We know that dude who stabbed him up in prison, it wasn't for no reason. It wasn't because he was looking at nobody's wife. We ain't going for that. One thing is, see, look, Tory Lanez is one of them people who figured out how to crack the code. And what I mean by that, NFT, I want to say that's it, or something else. I may be wrong for what I'm saying, but not the basis of it, just them letters. I may be wrong. But he figured out how to make money directly to him, where you don't need a record label. And he wanted to play the game, each one teach one. So if he could teach somebody and they could teach somebody else, where would the record labels go? Poof, gone. You wouldn't need them. The money that they giving people for advances, you would have made that yourself. No middleman. That's what Tory Lanez, that's the information he hold, how to make that happen. So with that information, that's the type of information to get you gone. He in jail. Now they want him gone. The girl bodyguard, Kelsey her bodyguard came out sometime early in the year, last year, a year and a half ago, somewhere in the year and a half ago. And the bodyguard said that, hey, I heard her over talking, and she said she shot Meg. I heard it. That's what he was saying. Vlad put that tweet up there. He also talked about Jay-Z being Epstein. We ain't gonna get into that. We know Jay is an evil. I don't gotta guess if he evil. I don't even gotta know what he doing. I just assume that half the shit they said he did, and the other half he thought about doing. These niggas evil. Was Vlad trolling? Yes, Vlad was trolling. He said it in the tweets that he was lying. If y'all look close. Look. See what I'm saying? If you read that tweet, anything else is Vlad just wanted to go viral. Vlad, look. So for everybody who went and ran everything down through the mud as if it was credible, what Vlad talking about, me personally, some of it is. That nigga just don't believe none of it. You get what I'm saying? I don't believe all of it. Most of it that he put. Only thing I'm on is that Tory Lanez situation. I'm more on the Tory Lanez. That shit he tweeted, I'm like, hey, that bodyguard said that, and I don't think he said it for no reason. I think he did fall out with her. That's why he said it. And I think it kind of been eating at him too. Like, damn, this man locked up. He ain't do that. But y'all leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think about it.